All right, everybody, we're back. This week in the SIAC, we are mid-October. The hunt for football championship clearly underway. We have pretenders. We have contenders. Not a lot of time to switch sides, all right? But some games are a championship within themselves, no matter the record. For example, Morehouse, Tuskegee, they've been playing for over 100 years. Neither team off to their best start ever in the history of ever this year, but that did not matter this past Saturday night. New City, Birmingham, under the lights. Highlights brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Let's go to James Verrett, Tyrone Poole. They were on the call and they have the recap.
First half highlights, a high snap, and Fernando S. De La Mora has to kick it out of the back of the end zone for a safety, and then it was defense, Darian Pittman with an interception, which leads to a Michael Sims touchdown run to get them on the board. But then Tuskegee would come back and fumble the ball away, recovery by Morehouse, and they would kick a field goal that would be shanked, no good, but then Tuskegee would finally find a way. They find their favorite receiver, Hodges, and then they find one of their tight ends, Alexander Mitchell, for his first touchdown of the season. A long field goal by S. De La Mora for the second time. Yes, it's good. Second half, it was right there. Big plays by special teams and defense on both sides of the ball, but then it was a big boink right off the head, recovery by Morehouse, and then that ground game would take over, Tyrone.
Yeah, ground game takes over. Again, you see Tuskegee able to throw the ball deep, try to get themselves back in the game. Right here, Tuskegee happy, comes back, didn't quite come up with the 2-point conversion there.
Throwing the long pass would finally come through for Morehouse, and in the back of the end zone, they would find a receiver, and there's the shimmy from the tight end. Defense would play big, get another turnover, and then an easy run by Davis as they walk in.
Well, I tell you what, it was a very sweet victory. I mean, I'll tell you now, we've gone through the university of adversity this year, and nobody knows it better than the young men in the room. And I had a conversation with our quarterback, Mike Sims. I think you guys asked me a question during one of the prelim interviews, and the question was, how do I feel about Mike? Do I think it was time for a change? I told Mike Sims, I said, hey, look, you and I are joined at the hip. And Mike knows that. Mike looked me right in my eyes. He said, Coach, I'm not going to let you down.
All right, Morehouse with their first win of the year. Allen, football, the new kid on the block as it begins its provisional membership in the SIAC, but the Yellow Jackets have quickly shown that they do indeed belong. 3-3 so far, tough loss over the weekend at Clark Atlanta, 21-12. But if you're a fan of Allen, you have to feel good about where this program is headed. Jasher Cox has been on the job just a few months at Allen University as athletic director, but it's been an accelerated launch. The football team, in its first year of Division II play, is 3-3, including a last-minute stunner against Livingstone.
Credit President McNeely, first and foremost. He's had a vision from day one since he arrived at Allen University. Made a solid hire with Teddy Keaton, who's also known with building programs from ground up. They've done a fabulous job building this coaching staff and building this program, and it only gets better from here.
It's a dog-eat-dog world when it comes to revenue in college athletics, but Cox has a steady course he intends to take.
We're in the heart of Columbia, South Carolina. And we've got a big dog right there in the city that's just a couple of miles from us, from the University of South Carolina. Everybody wants to generate revenue, right? But before you can get to that point, you can't be always hungry to be revenue driven. You got to be community driven. So the first thing we want people to know is that we welcome you to Allen University. We want you to see what we're trying to build. We want you to not just check out a football game at Allen University, but we want you to see men's and women's basketball. We want you to see women's soccer, which is a starter program. We want you to see our softball programs and other Olympic sports. So first and foremost, we just want you to come visit our campus. It is a hidden gem.
Head coach Teddy Keaton has built up programs in the past at stops like Stillman. Now in his third year of building Allen up from the ashes with the team of mostly true and redshirt freshmen, he knows one thing remains the same no matter where you are.
It takes discipline. It's going to take some determination. You know you're going to take some lumps, but you got to teach them and hold them together even when those lumps come along, and tell them that keep carrying the water till it turns to wine. At some point in time, it's going to come together. The hardest part is when you're losing, is being able to keep their minds in a place you want to keep them in, that they got to understand we keep the main thing the main thing. Every time we lose, it ain't always a loss, and every time we win, it ain't always a win. We just got to find what's good in every situation and build upon that.
This past Saturday, it was a 21-12 loss at Clark Atlanta, but it was easy to see the Allen offense is fast and exciting, but they literally don't have a kicker, like not at all. So going for it is a way of life, and maybe not as bad as you think.
We left plays on the field. I can't worry about that we didn't have a kicker. I know that's a part of football, but right now I don't have one, so I just kept doing what we're doing, and we've managed to win some ball games without it. We just have to game plan a little bit more, and we have to execute at a high level. Actually, I'm kind of liking it because it's making the kids have to focus a little bit more and give you an excellent opportunity with the ball, really.
Very talented team. I tell you, the quarterback that they got there, we knew if we had to keep him corralled, keep him in the pocket. Anytime he gets outside the pocket and he's able to throw that ball, it's going to be on the dime. I mean, he is very talented. I think he's leading the league right now in throwing and topping the offense, I believe, as well. So he's a very good talent. He's young. I think he's going to be a really good player for him. He's been good for him on film, and so we knew if we could just corral him a little bit, it'd give us a chance.
Allen's move to the SIAC is currently in the provisional stage, but everyone recognizes the significance it has moving up from the NAIA.
It's very important. It's important for recruitment, for brand, the whole nine. I think we welcome the opportunity. The competition brings people to our games, the whole nine. It brings out media coverage for our kids. It's been an exciting thing. We've been on ESPN as a young group. You know, we get a lot of coverage, a lot of write-ups. That is what we want, and that's what you brand your programs, and it eventually help you with recruitment.
And Allen isn't just a swarm of Yellow Jackets on the field. Their entire caravan is a vibe. The Band of Gold travels with the team, and they are a force to be dealt with in the stands and at halftime.
The Band of Gold is legit, and so when you see Allen University football on the road, you're going to see the Allen University Band of Gold. We're a production, and our fans follow us. They're faithful. We couldn't ask for a better scenario, that's for sure. Who doesn't love football, right? So they're thrilled to have it. And we've given them something to cheer about.
When Allen comes to your city, be ready for some smooth grooves and one hell of a dogfight. In Atlanta, Tolly Carr, HBCU Game Day. All right, back to CAU. The Panthers get their second win of the year, and Elijah Odom took all the snaps under center for Clark Atlanta. And Coach Bowens understands that time still exists for CAU to get it together in the SIAC East.
We're hoping for that. Yeah, we definitely want to get those victories. I'll tell you, some of those times that, in 19 that we should have, or we could have, or we should, and now we got a whole new crew in here. And now it's trying to get those guys to see, okay, listen, we want you to be able to see the big picture, but we don't want you to forget what's right in front of you today. And so I think that we got to keep them focused. And if we can do that, that's going to help us because if we talk about time, just see a little to see a lot. If we can do that, that'll help us get to the next one, and just have the goal of going 1-0. And if we can do that, like you said, a lot of crazy things have happened. And we're hoping for that and believing for that to happen for us too. And we like to mess up stuff for people if we can.
All right, Albany State enjoyed a homecoming festival over the weekend, taking on Edward Waters. My man, let me introduce you to Vaughn Wilson. He was there.
With HBCU football comes homecoming, the annual rite of passage for black colleges across the nation. This Saturday, it was the Good Life City, Albany, Georgia's turn to celebrate like only HBCUs can. Added in the pageantry was a surprise guest. While the Golden Rams knew they would be facing the Tigers on the gridiron, the EWU Triple Threat Marching Band showed up in pregame, setting up a halftime battle of the bands against the ASU Show Band. As for the game, it was Albany State continuing its romp in the SIAC. Quarterback Deontay Banu spread the ball out to his core of receivers while Cam Ward and Marcus Fulks ate up turf in the ground game. Coach Gabe Gardenia has a team loaded with talent, and homecoming would bring no different an outcome. Toriano Morgan's Tigers put up a fight, but the Golden Ram defense led by Stephen Pierre was just too much for Brian Jenkins' offense. It was homecoming, so alumni, students, and fans all had a good time in the stands. By the start of the fourth quarter, Coach G went to the reserves, including quarterback Jadon Sullivan, taking over for Bono. When it was all said and done, Gardenia and Morgan met at midfield with the Rams at 5-1 and the Tigers at 2-4. Next week, the Golden Rounds will travel to Benedict College while Edward Waters will host Kentucky State in Duval.
All right, Benedict and Miles didn't count as an SIAC win, but it was a dub nonetheless for the Tigers. Freshman quarterback Xavion Foster saw his first action of the year. He was in for injured Eric Phoenix, but Foster was all the fire that Benedict needed. The Tigers jumped out to an early 14-0 lead. Miles came storming back, pulled it within 21-17, about 4:30 left in the game, but Foster and Omarion Coleman connect on the game-winning drive, a 1-yard touchdown run, just 19 seconds to go. Tigers win it 24-21. All right, rest of the scores from this weekend. We showed you Albany and Clark Atlanta. Fort Valley State over Central State there, my upset of the week. Mildly surprised that Kentucky State handled Lane. The Dragons were rolling. Again, a tough stretch for Miles. Savannah big over Erskine, and again, Morehouse over rival Tuskegee. Our players of the week in the SIAC: Elijah Odom, Offensive Player of the Week. Stephon Pierre wins Defensive Player of the Week awards from Albany State. Ryan Duff from Tuskegee, your Special Teams Player of the Week. And Xavion Foster, your Newcomer of the Week. Here's a look at the SIAC standings after this weekend's action. Okay, on to the games on deck for Week 7. Tuskegee at Central State, Kentucky State and Edward Waters, Resurgent Benedict and Albany State, Fort Valley and Morehouse. Lane and Miles will be interesting. Clark with a puncher's chance in the division if it can solve Savannah State this weekend. We will see. All right, some exciting volleyball over the weekend. Central State put a little bit of a scare in the current queens of the throne in women's volleyball, Spring Hill. Over the weekend, the Marauders, the Lady Marauders, they won the first set in the match before Spring Hill came storming back to win the next three. They were all close. Spring Hill remains 16-0 in conference. Central State, though, enjoying a resurgent year under first-year coach Ray Lewis.
I think it comes down to just simple execution of scouting reports, and our players have worked really hard to be more and more disciplined, and you've seen it in our win-loss record recently as we're just executing at a much higher level than we were even a few weeks ago. So it's just going to come down to some simple discipline things and being able to execute our game plan. I really believe that if we play our game the way we want to, the opposing team won't matter.
All right, players of the week for volleyball. Haley White from Central State, Offensive Player of the Week. Stacia Adams from Kentucky State, Defensive Player of the Week. Abrielle Jordan, her teammate, Newcomer of the Week. And Spring Hill versus everybody, Jessica Fairley, the Center of the Week. All right, can we just rename the cross country award the Runner of the Week? I mean, Nelson Kimbo from Benedict just keeps winning. This is his third week in a row, but he is putting in the work. Nelson led the way for the Tigers at the Royals Cross Country Challenge hosted by Queens University. He ran a personal best time of 25:03 over an 8K course. I couldn't do that on a 5K course. I'm almost 50 though. He finished 75th overall. His teammate, Floma Okumu, she ran a personal best this weekend for the Lady Tigers. Same meet, she finished 39th. She ran a 20:58 in her event. Man, that was a 10-pound bag and a 15-pound show. We've got to do that again. We're less than a month away. Wherever you might be, keep in mind a football champion will be crowned in like 4 weeks. That game is coming up, SIAC Championship on November 13th. You think about that for a spell, who might win, and by the time you figure it out, it'll be time for another edition of This Week in the SIAC. I'm Tally Carr. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll talk to you later.